Hello people, welcome back to my channel. This is Sew with Pivot. So today we are going to be learning how to make this beautiful Ankara dress for a girl of 6 years old. Enjoy as you watch. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up. Thank you. So let's go sewing. These are the materials I used. I used half yard of this lace fabric, 2 yards of Aba lining, then 3 yards of Ankara. So I went ahead to fold my upper piece into 4 folds. I'm cutting the upper part first, and then the back is 2 inches longer than the front. So the length of our half bodies is 13 inches plus half inches for sewing, that's 13.5 inches. Then for our shoulder measurement is 13 inches divided by 2 is 6.5 inches. So I added half inches, that's 7 inches. Then from that point I'm going to go down by half inch shoulder slope. Then from that half inch shoulder slope I'll take my armhole measurement of 6.5 inches and I'll connect it like this. Next is my chest measurement, which is 24 inches divided by 4 is 6 inches plus 2 inches allowance, 8 inches. Now I'm basically using the same measurement for her waist, so I'm marking down 8 inches here. For the armhole, I basically marked half of my armhole measurement. Then from that point, I came out by half inches. Then I just connected it this way. This is actually optional for a child, but then I did it for this baby girl. So this is my back armhole, while this is my front armhole. For my neck width, I took 3 inches neck width. For my front neck depth, I took 2.5 inches. While for my back neck depth, I took 1 inches. So I'm going to connect it this way. So from that my waist measurement, I basically take out half inch from that half cut length and then just connect it towards the center to avoid puffiness. So I'll go ahead and cut. After cutting, this is what I have. This is my bag, so I'm notching the zipper allowance. Then I'll go over to the front piece. Now you can see I didn't cut out that neckline, so I'm going to open it up like this. You know, the neckline is a bit one-sided, right? So I basically came down by 3.5 inches, and then this is it. And then I'm going to connect it to that my 2.5 inches, then back to my neck width, and then this is what we have. So let me cut it out. So I went ahead to bring my lace measurement, and then I'm going to bring my main fabric, and then I'll place it like this so that I can cut out the neck. And then we're going to place this material like in front facing front, the front of the material facing the front of the lace. So this is what we have after cutting. So now I'm just going to trim it out to form that curve. So you can just use your discretion here. And then I started from the armhole to the other side of the armhole. So this is it. So go ahead and place it like this, and then I'm going to fold. You can use gum to hold it in place, and then I went ahead to fold in the edges, and then I stitched on it. We'll go ahead and cut our lining piece for both the front and the back, and then this is it. So this is for the front, and then this is for the back. So we're going to open it up this way, and then we use the lining to turn up from the neckline down to the sides. So I've turned my back bodies, and then this is what it's looking like. So let me turn it over so that you can get the full picture. So we head over to our sewing machine and then we do the same thing for the front. We are going to turn the neckline and the sides with a lining piece, and then this is what we have. I already turned it out, and then this is it. So we're going to fix in the back bodies, and then we'll join it shoulder to shoulder, and then we go ahead and sew. Okay, so for the down part, I have this material which measures 2 yards like in width, while for the length I'm going to be starting from 13 inches, which is our half cut, and then I'm going to measure her gown length, which is 43 inches. So I went ahead to add like 1.5 inches, so I have like 44.5 inches. So I'll go ahead and run a gather stitch on it. Okay, now for my lining piece, it also measures 2 yards, that's in width, that's 36 times, so that's 72 inches. Then for the length, I measured from that 13 inches, I took 40 inches. That's to say it's like 4.5 inches shorter than my main fabric. So I'll go ahead and open it up, and then we also run a gather stitch, and then we keep this aside. Okay, so for the long sleeve, this is what I have, and I folded it into 4, and then the length we are using here is 17 inches. So I'm not going to be folding this, I'm going to use the edge of that lace like that. So I came down by 3.5 inches, then I just formed my curve. On this hemline, I marked 4 inches plus 1 inch allowance, 5 inches. So I marked it out here, and then I'll connect it back to the armhole. Now for this armhole, I marked out 6 inches. So I'm connecting it like this, and then we go ahead and cut. When you open it up, this is what we have. So I'll go ahead and then bring it together like this, and then we close up the sides. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead to close up the sides of my upper bodies. So I'm basically going to mark out the allowance I left, which will be left with 1.5 inches. So I already did that, and then this is what we have. I already sewed it. Now I'm going to measure out what I have on my armhole, and in my own case what I have is 6 inches. Now we want to go ahead and cut our flace sleeve. I have this square fabric which measures 15 inches in length and 15 inches in width, and I have 2 pieces of this. So I will go ahead and fold it into 4, and then I marked out 7.5 inches all round. At the end of the day, I actually reduced it to like 6 inches all round. So I'll go ahead and cut. So remember, we are cutting our 2 sleeves at the same time. So after cutting it out, I'm going to mark out the middle, and then we carefully open it up, and this is what we have. So let me mark out that center line, and this is what we have. Then from that center line, I came down by 3 inches. So you can do more if you want to gather it, and I think I ended up gathering it at the end of the day. So you come down by 3 inches, then from that 3 inches point you now come down by 3 inches again, and from that point you just take your 3 inches round. Now this is the best way to cut your flace sleeve, so that at the end of the day it will be equal, not the one that the upper side will be shorter and then it will be looking so funny. So I'll go ahead to create a center, an opening at the center, and then we go ahead and cut. After cutting, this is basically what we are having. So to give it structure, I'll go ahead and introduce paper stay and all that. So I notched the center points. Okay, so I went ahead to introduce this paper stay. This is what I used, and also lining to turn it out. So I went ahead to cut it using the main fabric. After cutting it out, this is what we have. So we'll go ahead and iron this paper stay on the main fabric like this. After ironing it, we are going to go ahead and turn it this way, and then we use our lining piece to turn it. So we are going to sew this lining piece all round. After sewing it, I'll go ahead and notch and then cut off excess fabric. So I'll turn it out and then you see how it looks. After turning it out, we'll go ahead and give it a press. Then the next thing we're going to do is to fix it into our main bodies. So I'll go ahead and fix it in. If it has excess, you can go ahead and pleat it. So this is what we have after fixing in the two sleeves. So the next thing we'll do is to introduce our long sleeve, which is the lace. So you can see, remember, I already sewed it by the sides. So I'll just turn it over like this, and then we go ahead and attach it to our armhole. So we go ahead and introduce our down part, which is the gathered piece we already have. So I'm going to bring it in here, and then we place it on the upper bodies, making sure that our gathers is evenly distributed, and then we go ahead and sew. So after sewing it, I'm going to now place it like this, the upper bodies facing me. Then I'm going to introduce the lining piece. We are going to place it on top of these upper bodies like this, and then evenly distribute our gathers and go ahead and sew. So this is what we have at the end of the day. Then we'll also go ahead and join our lining piece for the down part to the main fabric of the down part. So we sew up that sides, and then after sewing it up, this is what we have. So let me turn it over for you to see it clearly. So you go ahead and iron that point so that it will relax and stay in place. After ironing it, we're going to bring the two sides together like this, and then you take out, you can measure your zip so that you will know where you'll be closing up from. But for me, I think from this waistline I came down with about 6 inches or 5 inches. Then from that point I just sewed all the way down, and then I fixed in my zipper, and then this is what we have. So I'll go ahead and fold the hem of my dress. Okay, if you look carefully, you will notice it has a belt, and the belt is this one-piece belt. So this my belt, the width of this belt is 4 inches, while the length is 60 inches. So I'll go ahead and fold it into two, and then we sew. Okay, so before sewing, I'm going to bring the two edges together, so that we can slant that end. So I brought my two edges together, I'll place it together, I'll fold it this way, and then I'll go ahead and slant it. So I'll just cut off that point, then before heading to my sewing machine to sew. After sewing, I will turn it inside out, and then our dress is basically ready. Now I already made a separate video on how I did that design, how I cut it out, how I stoned it. I already made a separate video for it. So now I'll go ahead and place it the way I want, and then either hand stitch or you use glue to hold it in place. Our dress is ready. If you know you enjoyed this tutorial, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.